Hi, I'm Roger Lane-Knott and I'm the Director General and Chief Executive of the Agricultural Engineers Association. And I'm going to talk to you about issues facing agricultural engineering today. First and foremost, of course, is the recession. It's affecting us all, both in our day-to-day lives and in our professional lives. Agriculture has been affected just like everyone else. Although in agriculture, we're more used to dealing with the sine wave of ups and downs as economic conditions change. We understand too the administrative burden that it's placing on you as members of the AEA, and we also are particularly keen to try and access for you both UK government and EU money that is available for any type of stimulation packages for innovation and so on. We know that credit for SMEs is a particular problem, and regardless of what the banks may tell you and what is in the newspapers, the reality we've heard from SMEs is that credit is a difficult issue and that the banks aren't lending as they should. We're addressing that and we're talking to them and trying to encourage them to do more for SMEs. We know there are shortages of commodities. You can't get the steel that you want, or you can't get suppliers who can provide the extra bits and pieces that you need. And we're here to support you in that and help you try and find those suppliers and try and help you fight your way through the system. Against this, of course, is the whole free trade debate, whether or not with a single market in Europe you can get in and actually sell to those markets. Research and development, that's a very important part, and we appreciate fully that each company likes to do its own thing. But we are working very closely with the Technology Strategy Board in an attempt to try and open up some of the funding that's both within that board and also within the research councils to help you if you want to research particular areas. Again, innovation is the key. New ideas, novel ideas, they're always welcome. And we will help you try and work your way through to try and get some of that funding. It will allow you to have a wider and deeper approach to what's going on. So the next one is probably the strategy for the future of agricultural engineering, not only in UK but in Europe and the world. You may be aware that the Secretary of State Hilary Benn announced back in January his Food 2030 strategy, and it will not surprise you that in 84 pages there was not one mention of machinery. I've written to him and I've asked him that he must include agricultural machinery in that particular strategy. Currently, it's not there. So what are we doing in the industry? Well, clearly, climate change is a big area, and we need to certainly consider how we can contribute towards that. Farmers, we know, want to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels and also their energy bills. So all our machinery, and manufacturers are already doing this, are trying to reduce the fuel usage, trying to make their engines more efficient and trying to make machinery more efficient for the farmer. So that strategy is going to continue. It's going to be amended, I'm sure, but we're right at the forefront of that debate. That brings me on to biofuels, a difficult subject because only 2 years ago we all thought that biofuels was going to be simply the answer. Well, it's not quite the answer. The reality of it is that in this country we just don't have the land to grow the volume of crops that would provide biofuel. And we've not really invested as a country in biofuels and biofuel plants. But it will still be on the map, and I'm quite sure that it will come back again in the not too distant future. And it's certainly, along with electric, hybrid systems and fuel efficient systems, is one of the areas we have to look to in the future. The depletion of our natural resources and the health risks. You don't need me to tell you about health and safety. It is vital, and there are far too many people being hurt and injured, and even some fatalities, both on farms and in agricultural engineering as a whole. They are less than they were, and there's a lot of work going on to try and highlight that. But we do need to keep an eye on it. As far as natural resources are concerned, we know that agriculture uses a great deal of fossil fuels. And one of the big challenges for the next 10 years is to try and reduce our reliance on those fossil fuels. Competition, a difficult subject again. The single European market is supposed to be just that, but the realities of it aren't quite like that. And we've seen recently Russia, who's gone back into its shell and is actually providing a protectionism system for their own agricultural manufacturers and stopping importers coming in there. I'm sure that will ease as the financial pressure eases, but competition and being able to compete within Europe is fundamental to our agreement with this. The Common Agricultural Policy, again, you don't need me to tell you the whole business of common agriculture and where it's been over the last 25, 30, 40 years. We believe that reform is in the air. Unfortunately, the United Kingdom hasn't got a seat at the table, which is a pity. And we're pushing hard to make sure that the UK government puts forward all the various elements that are required to reform the Common Agricultural Policy in a proper manner. Water. Again, water is an area that is going to be increasingly important. We've seen irrigation companies coming and going, and they're increasing. And the use of water, the proper use of water, the conservation of water, and how we use it within agricultural engineering is fundamental. And farmers are looking hard to us in the industry to try and find ways of using innovation in an attempt to use less of it. Technical competencies. Well, this is all about skills and people. It's difficult to assess just how many people work in agricultural engineering. Some people will say between 6,000 and 20,000 people. It's probably somewhere in the middle of that in actual fact. But we're not getting the skilled people in that we need. This is partly down to the education system that is not providing school children coming out of school with the right English, maths and science subjects that the employers want. It's partly down to the industry that has not really got a proper careers program and provide a proper career structure for somebody who wants to go into agricultural engineering. And that is being addressed too by a careers project, which is a multifaceted operation between lots of associations working together. And also we working hard to retain technicians. If you want to be a technician, it's very important that we provide that career path and that we give you a proper sequence in which you can move up the ranks that again is aligned to pay. We need to, in the industry, do more to try and persuade people, encourage people to come back and work on the land.